Hi everyone, welcome to Watch and Work Module 12. This Watch and Work is going to be a little bit different. We learned about physical development this week for a mid-childhood time period, that age of about 7 to 11. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how the community supports that physical development, specifically with looking at parks and recreation programs and parks in the Folsom area. So we're going to look at the park. We're going to see if there's any limitations to who might be able to access it. We're also going to talk about the different types of activities you might be able to do there, and then possible areas of development that it supports. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. The first one we're going to look at is this community park that happens to be a water park. We can look at the amenities right here. It says barbecue, baseball field, basketball court, bike trail access, concession stands, pavilion, picnic tables, play structure, restrooms, soccer field, and water feature. Let's go ahead and take a deeper look, though, and get some looks at the pictures of the park. If you want to know more about these parks, you can also go to their webpage, always, right? And this one, we look down here after we're reading about the amenities. I can see the baseball field. I see the basketball court. I can also see that there's two play structures. One looks a little bit more advanced than the other, meaning that it's going to meet more than one age group, right? I can also see the swings. There's typical swings, ones that we would think about when we think swings. There's also an infant toddler swing. And then there is a handicap accessible swing for children who might have problems with their core strength and being able to sit up and balance. And then, of course, we have the water feature piece. When we look back at our questions, my first question to you is, what age is the space designed for? Yeah, preschool, mid-childhood, and adolescent really gets the whole range, right? There's that smaller play structure all the way to having basketball courts and baseball diamonds. Are there limitations or populations that could not access this area? Okay. I said that there were two. So they do have that swing for children with physical limitations, but the play structure lacks access for children with physical disabilities. Also, there's a lack of shade over the play structures. And we know living in Folsom, Sacramento, El Dorado Hills, it gets really hot here. So it really limits how much children are able to access those features or that equipment when we're in the summer months. What types of activities could take place? I said team sports, right? You have basketball courts, not tennis courts, excuse me, a baseball field. You have imaginative play. You could do exploration, informal games, and water play. And with all of that, how could it support physical development? Teamwork, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, balance, sharing, agility, strength, and even manipulative skills, right? Thinking about basketball, managing a ball, or baseball, hitting the ball. All of those pieces. If you thought of something else, that's great. I can't wait to hear it. Next park is the Hinkle Creek Nature Center or Nature Area. It has bike trail access and Hinkle Creek Trail map. This is what it's going to look like just to get an idea of the pictures. So we see there's some creek access. The trails look pretty flat, not too many hills. This one looks a little narrow over here, but for the most part, pretty accessible. Let's take a look at our questions. Here they come. And they are, what age is this space designed for? Really more mid-childhood to adolescence. You could take an early childhood child here, but you would definitely need to supervise and make sure that they were being safe. Are there limitations or populations that could not access this area? For the most part, it's accessible, but we do have portions both on and off the trail that's going to be more difficult for children with physical limitations or disabilities. What types of activities could take place here? Imaginative play, exploration, informal games, right? There's not really any team sports of that kind of, but that's okay. How could it support physical development? What areas might it support? Cardiovascular endurance if you're running, flexibility, balance, and agility. All of those pieces, because you could climb on the rocks, you could go in the river for your balance, or the creek rather. Next park is Cummings Family Skate and Bike Park. This is what it looks like. Kind of those are the only pictures you get. The skateboard, the bicycles, and this child right here on the roller skates. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our questions. So what age do you think this space is designed for? Really mid-childhood and adolescence. You might have some early childhood if you have adult support. Okay. Are there limitations or populations that could not access this area? We still have an issue with shade, right? That really decreases the access when it's hot outside. So thinking of those summer months, really going to not have very much access to this space during certain times of the day. Probably children with physical limitations as well, depending on if they're in a wheelchair or not and those limitations and their disability. What types of activities take place here? For the most part, skateboarding and skating, right? And how did it support physical development? So, what areas are you thinking? Agility, manipulative skills, balance, and flexibility. All right, our last park is the Folsom City Lions Park Zoo. It has a lot of amenities: barbecue, baseball field, bike trail access, concession snacks, gazebo, open play area, pavilion, picnic tables, play structure, public art, restroom, and of course, the zoo is right next door. Let's take a look at the pictures. All right, looks like there's some butterfly garden. This is where you can get concessions and snacks, bathroom, a nice big baseball diamond. We also have a nice area with trees with seating, so there's some shade there. Looks like there's a big pavilion or a gazebo. I see a nice large play structure, a little bit more advanced, lots of climbing. There's also another play structure that looks a little bit more for a younger age, as well as some accessibility. Sandbox right here on the right, it appears to be. And of course, the zoo is right next door. All right, let's talk about our questions. Here we go. So, thinking about first off, obviously, who is this space designed for? What age are we addressing? This one really runs the entire kind of continuum, all the way from preschool, mid childhood, and adolescence. We can see something for everybody. We have those different structures. Are there limitations or populations that could not access this area? Not really, except for the fact that the play structures are not covered, right? So, again, we're getting that idea of shade decreasing access when it's hot outside. And what types of activities could take place in this kind of environment or space? Imaginative play, exploration, informal games, and even some team games, right? And how could it support physical development? Teamwork, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, balance, sharing, agility, strength, and manipulative skills are all things I came up with. If you came up with additional things throughout this watch and work, that is fantastic. I can't wait to read it. I want to say thank you again for joining me. I hope everyone is having a great week. This is week 12, which means you are so close to getting to the end. Hang in there, and as always, reach out if you need support. I am here for you.